Hi guys, so we're doing the mountains, Marvellous Mountains next. Now, I've had to change my layout slightly. I can't have my paints because this has had to be at an angle that she says about 45-degree angle. I've done the best I can. There's only so much I can tip up with my setup, but we're relying on gravity a bit. So I'm hoping it's going to work and this is enough of an angle, but we're going to wait and see. But for those who don't remember or hadn't seen, we are doing these mountains today from from this book where I'm teaching myself to watercolour using Learn to Watercolour 20 Step-by-Step Beginner Friendly Lessons on Watercolour Paper by Lacey Walker of Rebel Unicorn Crafts. So we are going slowly but surely. Each lesson is teaching me a new technique. This one is about washes. Which is why we've got an angle, because we're going to be relying on gravity to pull it down and do a wash over, and various depths of colour and colour removal to create this mountain scene. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go. This might already be above my skill level, but we will see. The point is that we learn, so we will give it a go. So we've had to mix up some colours, so I've already mixed up a grey and blue, and then we're going to be adding some magenta into it later, but it's not going to be showing the magenta. It's going to be a very small amount of magenta to keep it as a grey washed out colour from what I can see. I'm not entirely sure I've got this first wash blue enough. I might add a little bit more blue in. Problem is my grey is actually more of a black. I didn't have a grey that's specifically grey in this, which surprises me. So I'm hoping I put a bit more blue in. I'm hoping it's going to be enough. We will see. So the general gist of this is that we make a line that's really wet. We're working on dry paper. She says it's harder, but you get a bit more control apparently. But we're going to make a wet line here of our background colour, and then a second line where we're going to work the drip line is what she says. So I'm hoping it's going to drip down. We really want the brush loaded and wet apparently, so we're going to give it a go. So we're supposed to just go across here. Maybe I need some more. So we do have a little drip there. So maybe I just need to put some more on here to get a better drip line. And then we're supposed to just go across and do it again. Now this is what we're supposed to do. We're just supposed to take it down, working that drip line. I think mine's a little darker purpley blue than hers is. It doesn't matter. The colours don't have to be perfect, do they? The whole point of this is to learn. So if the colours are off, it doesn't matter. I can't use the same colours because if those who have seen my previous ones, you'll see that I'm working from a set that doesn't have colour names. So I'm just kind of winging it. So we're definitely in some drip lines. So we are getting it from that, but I'm not sure I got it at a high enough angle. I think it's supposed to flow a little more. Maybe if I just try putting a bit more colour on up here and let it drip down. Try that. So as I said, I have painted with acrylic and oils before, as I was explaining in my previous video, but watercolours is new to me, and it's a whole different technique. If you've switched from oils and acrylics, you'll know that watercolour is a very different technique, and I'm just kind of learning how to do this. So we're just kind of, I don't know why it's always bunching there, but we're not getting much here. Don't know if I've got it tilted slightly. Maybe it's slightly angled more. But we're doing this the whole way down. I think it's supposed to get lighter, so maybe I'm supposed to add more water as I go. It's definitely more of a purple than her picture. Her picture is very blue, but you know, it doesn't matter. So I'm just adding more water on my brush before I pick up the colour, because I'm trying to make sure that it is doing what it's supposed to do, and that's fade down. So I may end up going back and doing a little extra up there with what do you call it, the stronger colour, just to try to yeah, I think I definitely needed to have this at more of an angle, but I can't do that with my current setup because I am on a table and I've literally got it angled against the shelf that's behind my table. But you know, we will get there. I think it's definitely getting lighter near the bottom, don't you think? So I think we're doing okay. I think what I want to do is do a little more of that darker colour up here, and try to bring it down just a little more, because I'm not sure there's quite enough contrast there. Possibly getting a little much paper. I tried very hard to make sure this was taped down really well, and it's still buckling. I don't know what I'm doing, so please give me some advice on that, and the next time I film one I will put that advice into practice. I do try to film a few of these back to back now that I'm doing them weekly, so it might be a couple of weeks before you see any of your advice appear, but I think that's a little better. Okay, now before it dries, we're supposed to use a piece of kitchen towel, scrunched up, ripped and scrunched up, to give some like cloud dotting. So we will see how that goes. This is why I wanted to make it a bit darker up there, because we want some cloud dotting to show through. So that's showing for you guys, hopefully. Not sure if it was dark enough, but we'll leave it for now. The important thing is learning the technique, and if I needed to get more dark on it, I'll know for next time, won't I? But it's quite effective, just doing a little kitchen towel like that. It's got some subtle clouds, doesn't it? It's not a huge amount of clouds, but it's subtle clouds, and we'll see how it dries. As the paper dries, it might be that the colour shows through a little bit more, and the white shows through a little bit more as it dries. I don't know. We will see. But we have to let that fully dry before I can do the next layer. She said that was important to make sure it's dry. But the next layer, we're going to make a little darker. So she says that we're to add more of the grey into it, the mixture, and a little bit of the pink into it. So while that's drying, I'm going to do that. You can't see that, I'm afraid, guys. As I said, I had to have my my palette off to the side here. Put more of the grey, and we'll put some pink in. Don't know just pink is going to over thing away. Just trying to look at the colour difference she's got between her layers to what I need between mine. We're getting there. Okay, so I'm going to try that and see how that goes. So we need that to fully dry. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to stop recording for a second. You won't really see that. And I'm going to grab my heat gun. And I'm just going to try to dry that a little before we paint the next layer. Because she does say it needs to be, I think she either says let it dry or make it dry. That's her thing. And so I'm going to use my heat gun to just dry it off. So for you it won't be a break, but for me I'll be back in a bit. So I was still of an arm that it was too light, so I did go back over it with a slightly deeper colour, redid my clouds, and then I've dried it, so it should be mostly dry. It feels pretty dry. So we're going to do the next one. We are doing the mountains. Now this one we're going to have a dramatic change in things. Apparently we're only doing 2 lines. And then we're cleaning our brush and using clean water. So just going to do, we've got to follow that first mountain line. It should be a drip line, so I'm not getting enough on here again. I don't know how she makes it look so easy about having enough water on here, but I guess it probably comes with practice. Now we can see my lines, the lines through, and I haven't followed it properly, but I don't think it matters. And then we're just doing a second drip line so that we have quite a dramatic amount of colour up here. But then we're supposed to clean our brush and then only use the clean water to wash down after that point. So it's supposed to give us quite a dramatic drop off. Now hers is much more dramatic up there. I'm not sure I had enough colour in there. Might make it a little stronger on colour up there. Again, it's a learning curve. That looks like a much stronger colour there, so let's try that. Of course, as I've already got water, it's going to run down, but I can wash that out, so that's not going to be a problem. I think that's gave us a little more colour, and then I can just use a lot more water to dilute that colour down. I think that's gave us a better, stronger colour there, hasn't it? Just going to put some more water on that because I really want to dilute that down, because she shows quite a dramatic colour change between the top and the bottom. I think that's looking much better, isn't it? Trying to keep the dramatic colour change following that second mountain so that we've got that lighter bit there ready for the second mountain. Does that make sense? And obviously I've probably put a bit much more in, but I have a towel here so I can just absorb the excess up. If I had the correct depth of colour beforehand, I wouldn't have put more on, so it is my fault. But again, I'm learning. We will get there. Okay, so that's the first mountain. So for the second mountain, I think we've got to make sure it's dry again. Yes, we've got to dry it again. So I'm going to use my heat thing to dry that. And then we're basically going to do the same thing, but we're going to have even darker colour. So it says we are going to add more magenta and more grey to it. So to make it much darker. So I will dry this, mix up more magenta and grey to that layer. You're adding to the layer that we already, so this colour got the magenta and the grey added to it, and then I'm adding from that layer more magenta and grey for the next one, if that makes sense. So we're just gonna keep doing that, as they say, but I'll be back once I've got this dried, so see you in a second. Okay guys, we've got it dry and I've mixed up my next layer, so we are just gonna do what I said again, which is follow the line. See if we can follow it a little better this time. We have a darker colour. It's got more grey and more magenta in this one, so we're not putting more blue in. She has us just put the grey and magenta in. No, I don't think I've got enough water on my brush because it should still be doing the drip thing. So there we go. Because we're still going to be doing a wash down. So, and again, it's going to be 2 rows of the drip wash thing, and then we do the thoroughly clean water wash down. So you should see the second mountain appearing, and the point is that it's darker because it's closer to us. The whole point of all this is the lighter ones are further away and the darker ones are closer to us, more visible. If that makes sense. So that's what we gone with, and again that needs to dry, and we do another darker colour following this final mountain by adding more magenta. I think we add more magenta and grey. Let me just double check. Yeah, more magenta and grey to it to make it much darker, to do this final one, which will be this whole section coloured in at the bottom here. I'm sorry this start and stop, so hopefully I would have put some nice transition between the two for these, but this is the type of painting that you do need to dry it before putting the new layer on, otherwise it would all blend together. So I hope you're enjoying this anyway, and you'll get to see I'm quite happy with it so far. Obviously I didn't follow the lines very neatly and my clouds aren't great, but you know, this practice makes progress, isn't it? So I will get this dry and we'll come back and do the next bit. Hey guys, so I've dried it again. I think I need better tape. Maybe that's part of my problem because this is lifting up. But I don't know. We'll see. Right, so I've made up this darker mixture with more of the magenta and more of the grey, which for me is just pink and black. But we're gonna follow along this line, trying to make sure I get water drips on it, but I'm still not quite. Do I need to? There we go. That's a little better, isn't it? I also wonder if I don't have this tipped up enough to flow down enough. I don't know. But we see. So let's do a second line, because she says do a second line before we do the clear wash. In fact, no, we're not doing a clear wash on this one, aren't we? We're just painting all the way down, aren't we? Yeah, I think we're just painting this one all the way down. So doing the line drips, but all the way down, because this is the final mountain, so it doesn't need to have the wash behind it. definitely made up too much colour, but it's better to have too much than not enough. Because we discovered that the first one I did, didn't we? I didn't make up enough colour. See if I can get that edging just a little better. There we go. So that is in theory done. So I think I'm going to dry it. And then we can see what we think. I'm going to possibly try to dry this with recording and sound so you can watch it dry. But if the sound is too noisy from the heat dryer that I'm using, I'll take the sound out and just speed this bit up. We will see. There we go, it's all dry. You can see it's lifting up on the side here. So I definitely maybe need to stick the tape further on, maybe? I was trying not to waste too much of the paper, but I don't know. But what do you guys think? Did you like seeing it dry? Do you want me to just keep filming while I dry things from now on? Or do you prefer just having the cuts where I go off, dry it, and then come back? I quite like the idea of you guys being able to watch it dry, but I mean, you literally watch them paint dry. But I know some of you like doing that, and I do. I like to see the colour transition. I'm wondering if this is a little too light here compared to here. Maybe I should have brought the colour down into it a little more. But maybe it's just a misty fog in a valley, you know? But I enjoyed it. It was a good way to learn layering techniques and washes. So I did enjoy that. And, you know, I don't think it's too terrible. I mean, obviously it's not a work of art as such, but I think, you know, it's art. I did it. I'm quite happy with that. Do you reckon you guys will have a go with this? Let me know if you buy the book. As I said, I really recommend the book for those who want to learn watercolour. I'm finding it really helpful. And so I'm hoping you guys are as well. But I will see you in a week's time for the next one. The next one we're doing is Golden Hour, it's called. And that's that picture there. I'm a little nervous about that one because that one's clearly got some washes like we just did, but it's also got some fine detailing in here. So I'm quite nervous how that's going to go. But practice makes progress, so it's all that matters. So I will see you all soon. Please do comment down in the comment section of here and let me know what you think of this. Is this a nice series that I'm doing? I know some of you have already said how much you're enjoying it and you wanted to see me turn it out faster, which is why we've gone from monthly to weekly now. But do let me know what you think, and I will see you all for the next painting in a week's time. You all take care. Bye.